This is a meeting of the Board of Health, Thursday, April 7th, 2022, 6 p.m. Meeting is hybrid, being recorded. President is Sue Braska.
Jane Nelson.
Mackenzie Kane.
Tom Fitzgerald.
Okay. Motion to accept the minutes with the corrections from March 17th, 2022.
I second that motion.
Mackenzie Kane, yes.
Jane Nelson, yes.
Sue Braska, yes, and Cindy, you have what I just gave you, right? Okay. Do we have any other minutes, Jean?
Nope.
No, okay. So we don't have the minutes from
The last
the
meeting.
24th.
No,
the 24th.
sorry.
Okay. Public comment, is there anybody? No. All right. So we can move right on to Tom's report unless you want to talk about
Sure.
anything.
Yeah, just for COVID cases, 8 COVID cases, 4 over the age of 60. 1 is up to date with vaccines, 4 under 60, none up to date, no kids. 5 influenza cases, 2 children, 3 between 20 and 60.
Cindy, can you hear that okay?
1 Hep C.
Ooh. Got the hepatitis C from last time?
No, no, because this is the first and the second. It's just from April. Sign off in 24 Noble Steed, 253 South Long Yard. You sign off 45 Green Hills Road. Certificate of Compliance 12 Jared Lane, COC 3 Hummingbird Lane. That's at 45 Feeding Hills Road. Test 46 Will Palmer Road, perk test at 9 North Long Yard Road, perk test 128 College Highway, Title 5 inspection 427 College Highway, Title 5 inspection 105 Feeding Hills Road. That was when we discussed just an update that I sent back after the board, after we had the meeting about that, where she wanted to know there was a needs further evaluation by the Board of Health. Situation is an old system. Tank was bad, needed to be replaced. So the options were that I presented was to wait 6 months after consulting with DEP and have it re-inspected, but nobody wants to wait 6 months to have it re-inspected if they want to sell it, right? So she's probably going to go ahead and fix it. Actually, there's nobody living in the houses now. The 2 houses right opposite Hudson Drive, they're both on the same lot. They're going to have to cut the lot up. You ever notice right across from Comark? There's 2 black houses. Well, they're in the same lot. And this is the property. So one of them failed the Title V. and
What's
that's
the
what we're
road right
talking about.
across? Is that-
Hudson.
Not number
Right next to-
across that other little road right across Garden.
Gargan
Right
Terrace.
before Garden.
Yes.
Yeah.
before.
It's
It's
before.
right
Two
after
white
the
houses,
library.
Right after the
Right after
library,
the
right
library?
after the little brook. Yeah,
Uh,
those are the 2. So,
So Tom,
take
all
care.
these perk tests are obviously all repairs, right? You have new
no,
ones?
actually, there's actually one at lot 37. They couldn't do it. They couldn't get it to the ground. So Gary Cyril was there before I got there. You know, he usually calls me when there's something, you know, when it's ready. He's ready. The new subdivision off of Tannery. It's lot 37. They couldn't get into the ground. So that lot is going to have to be reconfigured, or it's going to be not going to be used.
And
to
then
have
couldn't get into the ground. Too
Ledge.
A ledge.
Yeah, so I wanted Barry, and he's going to do it. I asked him to make sure that you send me something in writing. I want to have that in the future.
That's part of the golf course.
Yeah.
Yes, the old golf course.
Oh,
Off
that's
of Tannery. Yeah,
The green is
Right.
east.
yeah,
Lindsay's.
yes, right. And we have, speaking of Title V stuff, we have a letter from Dr. Waltz regarding the property buying the old Freedom Bank across from IBS and across from Suburban. that they evaluated the septic system there because they're changing the use as I requested. It's going from a bank to a dental office, okay, with 2 dentists. So so we need copies for you, from an engineering firm, Sherman and Frederick. And it just basically says they did the calculations from the existing plans on file. And it would meet Title V for the change in use. That's what it did. However, as he puts down there, I just know this correspondence has been prepared to provide the capacity of the system, but no information as a condition of the existing system has been provided to us, which would be from a Title V inspection. When I reviewed the Title V inspections, there wasn't one for him yet. So he needs to get a Title V inspection because he bought the property already. So that's kind of,
after the fact.
yeah, I mean, the bank was really usually supposed to do that first, but so he's been notified of that.
Your Title V inspection.
Correct, yes, which is required by state law. Final inspection 5 Tanny Lane, 264 Feeding Hills Road, and a well permit for lot 21 Noble Steed. That was the Rosini lot, the woman that wanted variance from the title, from our regulations regarding the regulations that had expired, put it on the original place where I did a perk test, witnessed a perk test years ago. So you graciously allowed her to go ahead with that, which you certainly could do, and which I didn't have any problem with. We have a new plan that came in from the planning board to look at. It's a 5-lot subdivision off Hillside Road across from
It's behind the little mini train.
a little further up,
Yeah, further.
a little
up,
further,
the
right
Hawkins
across
used
from
to
the Horkums. So if you know, I mean, I don't know if you want to look at it now.
live.
It's 5 lots. We did the perk test years ago, but it's the lots, the perk tests are on this plan, and a lot of them are real close to the house, because obviously the person doing the perk test, we didn't have any idea where the,
In our regulations say what they're good for 5 years,
right,
and then they have to be reevaluated.
right.
So how long ago were they done?
Oh, I haven't looked at it yet.
Okay.
I haven't looked at it yet, because we just got this today, but for the same reason, we should be talking about that for the regulations, changing the regulations for Title V, so that it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that again. If
Do
they're
what again?
to require it in the new regulations, when we do the new regulations, when someone does the new
I
regulations.
didn't.
Well, no, but they're not voted on and finalized and sent to the clerk's office and sent to
The new
DEP.
ones say that they look at them at an individual basis.
Oh,
After 5 years, we could require more depots, but they'd be looked at an individual basis.
that hasn't
So
been,
anyways,
hasn't been
let's
to the
just
first, yeah,
look at
so.
this last.
There's a lot of wetlands.
Right, there are. Do you want to take a look at this?
I don't know what, we're going down a
Yeah,
rabbit
let's look
hole.
at
We're
it.
going down a rabbit hole that I'm trying
Let's
to
look at
avoid.
Yeah, it might have been 5 years ago, too, but I don't think so. I don't think it was that long.
Okay, so here's Hillside Road. These are the existing. So this is where it's gonna be in here.
See all these little dots? They're wetland
They're wetlands.
flags.
They're
So
gonna
you
build that close
can't
to
build
wetlands?
within 100 feet
Right.
of a wetland.
Right, there's no variances in those, right, and a further plan shows the house and where they want to put the houses, where the septic, where the perk test are.
Not be directly over it.
And that was-
This
is another big-
This is what they call the
different page.
building envelope.
Right, right.
Mm.
and it's
So
buffer-
that's where they can
This is a
build a
buffer zone.
house within this.
this is a buffer
So
zone.
that only this tiny little part would be
So-
in the wetland.
So now, so now if you look at, Susan, if you want to move it up there, they're all the same, just they have different layers on it. But there certainly is, because they have the houses where they want to put the houses on that, and that shows you where the perk test is. Yeah, that's it. So now it shows you what the building envelope, and you can see in their light, but the perk test there. You can see the light perk test here, see way here, those are all too close.
Because it would be,
For example, it's gotta be 20 feet off the house.
yeah.
But again, no fault to anybody. Nobody knew. We just tried to get it close and close.
So all of, like this one would have to be
Be
redone.
done,
This one
right,
would have
yeah,
to
so
be
they're gonna
redone.
have to go back and do a
Oh,
lot
all
of
of
those,
them.
and that's,
Oh,
a s-
maybe
yeah,
not.
Not that.
right.
But this,
What's the stars?
look at,
I think they're just trees.
there's a
Buffer.
50-foot buffer.
Oh,
So if that's the 50-foot buffer,
Right.
then
Yeah.
you have a perk right in a buffer
Right.
zone. And
So
you
then they
can't
all
do
have to
that.
be redone.
Yeah,
Is this infiltration? Is this where all the water's gonna drain into?
That's the
what's
plan.
that, a retention pond?
Infiltration basin?
Yeah. Same thing. But why would they do that? Or it's just for the cul-de-sac? They're gonna have an infiltration
Yeah,
basin
drain it.
just to
This
drain.
is
You
it.
gotta
the plot
drain
of
that.
land. If you're going up hillside, it's on your right.
Correct.
Side.
Correct. So
Okay.
this is all going downhill.
Yeah.
Hence the wetlands. So this is the field. There's houses here on either side, or you can see one there.
Coast Hill would be like right there,
No,
Coast
Coast Hill is,
Hill.
Coast Hill's way.
way away.
Yeah.
Okay, then I have no idea where we are.
Well, you
Go
know where the stop
hillside.
sign is, the curve,
Yeah.
you know where the railroad, the miniature railroad is.
The little Pioneer
I
Little
don't
Valley.
know
Pioneer.
what that.
Pioneer
The
Rail.
Pioneer Valley.
Do you know
Oh, it's
where
cool.
Buzz
The
Karen,
mini
do you know where
railroad?
Buzz Karen lives? No.
Is that a
It's too far
person?
down.
Yes.
Southwood.
It could be.
You know where
Buzz
you know where
Karen.
Charles Johnson, Hastings and Hillside
Yeah,
all come
that's what
out?
I'm
So you
saying.
go around
Stop
the
there,
corner
take
toward
a round.
Westfield, you go
Yeah.
up, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Quarter
half a
mile. Quarter
Yeah.
mile,
Okay.
and there's fields on
Just
both
before
sides.
the, just
Yeah.
before the hill
Go
going down.
down into
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
over on the.
Real Palmer.
And is that old house on there that still has asbestos siding, is that still standing?
I haven't been by there in years.
Which house is that one?
That was old, head of the senior housing.
Oh, yeah, remember we
Condemned that.
condemned it
Yeah.
because the daughter
Right.
wanted to condemn.
This is the
it.
guy that, the guy, is this the same guy that built that, bought that?
Well, have they been approved yet by the planning board?
I
To build
don't,
this
I
subdivision?
don't think so. This is just sent to us. No,
Right.
no. I think this
So
is
do we
just-
have to, do we have to say something to the planning board that these perks
Proposed.
have to be done over?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's really, but it'd be self-evident, but yeah, here's the proposal, but it's proposed. So no, they're submitting it to all us,
Oh.
everybody, you know.
All right, but do we
So-
have to, we have to get back,
Formally, yeah.
email back to
Sure.
Mr. Doherty that the
Absolutely.
perks have got to be done because they're
Yeah.
either in the buffer or they're too close
But I
to
think
the house.
as Gene said, and you can see this, the wetland issues are
Yeah.
they're gonna be even, I think they're gonna be
This
tougher
one
than
would be okay.
the perks. I mean, in other words, you might even want to say where they can do them now. In other words, it would be nice to hear from conservation and say, okay, given this, what areas can we actually do them?
But if
Because
you
now we
look,
know we'll have more information.
if you look at this
Yeah.
perk,
Yes,
it says existing tree line, it's
Yeah.
right in the trees.
We'll take the
yeah, they
trees
could have had it
down.
close, yeah.
And look at it.
We'll take the trees down.
So there's the 100-foot buffer. And it's encroaching right on
Right.
this property.
Yeah, it's gonna be a challenging.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
challenging subdivision.
definitely. So this infiltration basin is basically
For this, right, for the
taking the
drainage.
drainage
for
for the impervious surface.
Mm.
You know,
Yep.
this,
Right.
now this is all
Yep.
going to be paved, so the water has to go somewhere.
So whose
basins.
property is this?
That's
That's part of
That's
it.
part of it. They have to,
That's part of the
they
subdivision.
have to discharge it on the property, so they can't. they
So
can't do
is it,
somewhere
is
else.
it this person's property?
It has to be
64?
the petitioner,
So
the
they're,
person is to build,
so they're gonna be responsible for this?
that would probably be conservation too, right?
Or it would be part of an association.
John, yeah, or the water management.
I thought they had to be 42,000.
Stormwater management,
stormwater
John
I thought they had to
Goodard.
be 42,000 for building
Mm.
acre.
On a flexible subdivision, you can have
Change it.
smaller
Yeah.
size
Right,
lots.
right, right.
But you also have to have what they consider open space. So you can build on smaller lots, but you can't build, you have to reserve an X amount for.
So these are
open
flexible,
space.
so what are they using for open space in this one?
Here,
I don't know.
That's not theirs, no, it's not theirs.
That's not theirs?
No, I don't think so, no, there's a house over there, see? That's-
Over
that's-
here?
Maybe,
But I think you have to take wetlands out of open space.
That's a good question. I get, I don't, yeah.
I don't know, it looks like it's going to be a challenge.
Yep, absolutely.
What's this, a proposal called?
Magnolia.
Flexible, yeah.
Oh, Magnolia.
Flexible
Oh,
subdivision.
yeah, Magnolia Circle.
Flexible subdivision.
We're gonna email them to the protest is gonna be-
Yeah, I think
Cool.
that's, I think they're gonna have other problem, you know, I think the
Yeah,
conservation
they're-
is gonna
they're-
have, it's gonna have you
Yeah,
work that out for you. We got a few minutes.
Who is the
Petitioner?
petitioner?
Oh, you took that over. right? Okay.
NNK Realty. Mr. Nicholas
Sanakis.
Castellanos
From 15 Meadow Lane.
from 15 Meadow Way. That's right.
Meadow Lane is where, up off of,
Okay,
Palmer?
The ranch, that's the ranch. That
um,
was one of you.
Okay, so
okay, so look at, septic regs. Are we gonna do anything with those? So we can get them out of the way. The revised septic regs.
Yes, I actually haven't even had a chance to look at that. I was gonna talk about the well regs.
Yeah, I
We need to look
I
at
looked, I
it.
looked at the well regs. The septic
There's a
regs
lot
are
of-
shorter.
Well, yeah, the well regs, the template well regs are pretty severe compared to what we had before.
how are we doing on our budget? As far as.
You should have copies of it.
You got
I-
copies
Well,
of it?
that's
Yeah.
what I'm looking
Oh,
at, so,
okay.
so we still have money for clerical part-time,
Yes,
okay?
and according to Mr. Didi, approved and told Mr. Steinhardt that we could get 10 hours for Cindy.
Right, but we have to use up this budget first. So you did the approximate how many hours per week
Yeah.
with the remaining budget,
It
right?
came out
We
to
can
be
figure it out right now.
It was
like-
8
like
something.
6.8, something like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Cindy can give us 6.8 hours a week for Board of Health.
Right now.
Right.
Yeah,
See, Cindy, that's the reason that when you were working for town, when you
Yeah.
would usually come off of there, come off of there.
well,
Because
we can probably get you the full 10 before for the next fiscal year. But Cindy's working as a floater,
Yeah,
and if you're working as a floater, she can still do Board of Health.
Right, she
Yeah,
was,
this
yeah.
week I did all the
Yeah.
permits and nothing else.
Right,
Very
while,
good.
while she's
Yeah.
floating
She got all the
for
permits out.
Karen, who's on vacation. So, you
Yeah,
know,
nice.
if they have to put you in as a floater someplace else,
Yeah.
then, you know,
Like I covered for Robinson.
right. So, and you can do Board of Health work during that time, so. So it won't be, you know, just that little 6.8 hours a week and nothing else, so. Okay, but I will say right now that from what I've seen, Cindy is doing a really good job
Yeah, she-
Oh, good
For
job.
Yeah, she is.
for being a new, and
Yeah.
she's, looks like a very quick learner.
good.
So I think she's going to be an asset to the Board of Health
Yes.
To the town.
and to the town,
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
So you're working basically full-time this week?
Yeah. this week.
Cool. That's quick.
Yeah.
So if you haven't had an opportunity to look at the new well regulations, template
I looked at
proposal,
them.
take a look at
They're
them.
quite extensive. Quite.
That's why, again, the board can do anything you want with them, but you really need to upgrade them a little bit. Some of that, it seems to be pretty severe. That's why I put little check marks on there. I thought that would be, you know, let's talk about these.
So I thought the question marks, weren't the question marks like,
Well, that was part of it. What do you want to go along with that? That was kind of just my notes to just give you a little, because the other stuff was pretty much boilerplate. I mean, there's a lot of good
Right.
stuff in there, don't get me wrong. It was pretty good. But of course, the more regulatory stuff, the more Board of Health becomes involved in if things don't go well. So
But the Board of Health can be more stringent than the state.
in this case, no, in this case, it's very different
Okay.
because there are no state regulations.
Oh,
So the Board of Health is the regulation. This is a template regulations that were put out by MHOA and Council of other well people. So the Board of Health has a sole authority for the well regulation part of it, not the well drilling. That's a state license. So
okay.
the person that drills well has to be licensed and they, they have to report where the well is drilled and how deep it went, how much casing they put in it, things like that, what it pumped at, how many gallons it pumped, that type of thing. But where they do it, where they're allowed to do it is up to the Board of Health of well regulations. 20 feet off the sideline. Our regulations. Who can do it, how much is a permit, things like that. So it's, to answer your question, no, that's an exemption, but they're actually trying to make a statement. They're trying to make a statement right now, they have it.
So on this copy you gave us, some have stars, some have question marks. What's the difference between the stars and the question marks?
Put me in a spot with that one. I think the question marks, that I had a question mark of whether folks would want to, take a look at this closely, and the stars were, I think these are a good idea. I think that was it.
Okay, I mean, if you just, get a chance to look at it. I did an e-permitting module demonstration, which is a sister of the e-permitting we have for the building department. Okay, and that's where the building inspector has, Gene, you're on that, right, e-permitting. So they have a module for the Board of Health. And it could be for, they have a lot of modules they could do. They could do restaurant e-permitting for restaurants with a tablet. You could go out with it, get it and buy a tablet, and then they have their own little program that has all the information that I'm doing now on paper, triplicate, duplicate. And then it can be downloaded and sent to them.
And a retention,
What? Yeah, we
it
can send-
retains all the permits.
absolutely, but you can download it and ask for a signature and it can be done electronically. It's pretty slick. And also you can do it for well permitting, you can do it for septic systems and stuff as much as you want to do. They'll provide it. The downside is it's pretty,
This is the
Pretty expensive.
$11,000 thing we talked about.
yes,
for the last
it's,
two meetings.
that's the downside. It's not cheap, but I mean, the building department doing it. One thing is nice about this, if we could get on even more than we are now with our restaurant stuff. Right, having to send out letters, finding letters, because they wouldn't get anything, including permits to have the inspection done by the police and fire and building department, as well as anybody that has liquor license. None of that would be done until we are squared away with Michelle's office, because we check with her office, but they don't check with us necessarily. So
So where are we now with the food establishment?
It's 6:30.
Nobody's going to executive session, is not here.
So you want to postpone the executive session?
well, it's raining out. I'm sure he's.
Wait, he's supposed to come today?
Yes,
yes.
Do I have to go in for 6:30? Can we put it off a few minutes and wait for him to
Well,
come?
no, you could go in and we can wait for them. You can still go in because they're supposed to go in at 6:30. So you can still go in. It doesn't say he
Okay.
has to be here to go in.
All right,
You can just wait for him.
so I make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21(3), to discuss collective bargaining
for the position.
for the position of our health director. And then we will reconvene to an open session.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Mackenzie Kane, yes.
So, okay, so we're all in favor.
Yes.
So then you're going to
Executive
stop.
session, we have to close the doors.
All right, and then we're going to stop
Yes, stop
recording.
Okay, so we've returned to a regular scheduled meeting.
All right, so the motion's going to be, do I make the motion
You
to
can.
offer Alex White the health director's position from May 2nd to June 30th, 2022. And then to continue with the three-year one too?
And then at that point, it's up to you. It's a letter of employment. So it would commence on July 1, 2022 and go to June 30th, 2025.
Okay, so I make that motion.
And I'll second that.
Mackenzie Kane, yes.
Sue Grassi, yes.
Okay, roll call vote. Jean Nielsen, yes. Sue,
Okay,
yes.
so we all said yes.
Okay. So what this entails now is Mr. White signing 2 copies of this condensed 2
So
months.
just to let you know that that says July 1st for the ending of it, which would still be accurate.
Well,
It ends July 1st, and the new one
And the new
begins
one's,
July
yeah.
1st, right? Because it's not,
Okay.
it doesn't say June 30th.
Okay, so do you have 2 copies, Alex? Here's the other copy.
I got one copy.
So you're gonna sign,
is that the one with the changes, Sue?
Yes,
All of them, I just gave.
this
you.
is the 2-month contract.
so we're gonna fill out this blank day of April in the year 2022.
Yeah, the 7th day
Mhm.
of April in the year 2022.
Mhm.
And then Alex, you sign it down bottom and then pass it along and the rest of us will sign it, okay?
I'm sorry.
And then you can
Thanks.
do a second one.
Let me take one.
Look at,
There's pens.
there's pens in there. Mackenzie.
I know.
You don't have to take Alex's pen.
Gel pens all.
Take a pen.
Yeah, I'm gonna do different colors.
Oh, that's pretty.
Anyway. Signature changes, everything. And then this one I'll hold on to for a later date.
Well, you can't,
Why not?
or you
Can't?
can do it now.
Oh, okay.
She said
So-
can, you
Oh, I
can't.
Oh, no,
can.
you
Oh, I think you
can't.
said you
You
can't. I'm like, oh, okay, here, sorry.
Yeah, so you
Oh,
can't.
sorry about that.
I'm
You-
sorry, you
No, 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 it's all
can.
right. All right, I'm gonna fold it up. Actually, no,
Um,
I'll put it in here.
And that you would sign just as as this one terminates,
Yes. yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
And if there's anything in there that you still want to discuss,
Absolutely. It's open.
then you have the option to change that.
Right.
You know, before the termination of this one.
Yeah, and hopefully
Okay.
we'll be able to do that
All right, so is that Alice's copy?
with ample
Alex.
time.
And this is our copy.
Alex's, yeah,
Thank you.
yes, okay, Tom, this is like gold, no.
It's like gold.
Treat it like gold.
Okay, so at this point
Okay.
now, what's the next step?
We welcome Alex to our little happy family. And then, we have to.
Yeah, now you're gonna have to,
Get this on camera.
You're gonna have to do the employment thing.
Yeah,
So now-
he has to have a quarry check.
Yeah.
So Tom gives that to Carl and then will be
Yeah.
contacted
Job
by
before we
Carl or by
close
Robin
Mhm.
as to what needs to,
Well,
And then the select
usually
board
have those.
secretary will get a hold of Alex.
I mean, because the other way
for
around,
a
it'd be
quarry
wasting
check.
sometimes if, even if you work an
Yeah.
operating
And,
job, or you're wasting things.
town physical.
I mean, let's face it,
Town physical. Oh my gosh, how many weights? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Look, I got, toothpicks over here.
what?
No, just don't worry about that.
I think
one,
there's
so
a-
in other words.
Isn't there a little?
No,
well,
it's on this one.
this one's open here.
It's a place called AccuHealth in East Long Meadow.
Okay.
They'll tell you
It's-
what, they'll tell you what.
Yeah,
to do,
they'll tell you where
I
to
will
go.
give this a copy. to
Okay.
Carl.
So,
Go up the stairs. There we go.
no, it's.
No stairmaster?
No, it's like, they listen, do you have a heart?
Right.
And
No, I have no
then
heart in
it's
public
like
health.
it.
No,
No, he's
no.
not
I'm
supposed to.
cold. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Soulless creature.
So Tom will get with them and they'll get with you on making
Sure.
arrangements to do that and then.
Wonderful. How do you feel, Mr. Fitzgerald, for 2 months so far?
Relieved. He's out. Tom's ready to
Yeah.
be done.
So,
Lovely.
You gonna travel during then?
What was that?
You gonna travel during then?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Step up
So
to the bar.
when you officially start in May, how's it gonna work? We're gonna do 26 hours? Is Tom gonna pick up a day or? are you gonna pick up some
Well, we didn't
slack?
actually discuss that yet, did we?
No,
You want to discuss it now or wait till a different meeting? I can go. either
Well,
way.
Discuss it now.
you two can work it out.
yeah, absolutely.
The board doesn't have to,
There probably
You
should be
know,
a transition
micromanage it.
period, but I
well,
mean,
Tom will be able to support you. I mean, we have this little bucket of money that Alex is gonna get this portion and Tom's going to get this portion,
Wow.
okay? So, and until this transition
Into full time.
is, yeah, well, not, no,
Finalized.
not until
Yeah.
full-time,
Yeah.
because you're still going to be
Agreed
working
upon.
part-time and
Right.
essentially until December.
Right.
So that
So,
means,
we'll discuss that later.
yeah, that's,
Yeah. So right
it's-
now, I'll be helping out, during the summer, so.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Well, you'd be the director during the summer.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll be helping out.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Facilitate,
lead, direct,
Tom wants to
right.
run away right now.
Okay, so
Yeah,
now-
I'll make sure you won't, okay? I
So-
guarantee you
When
that.
it comes time for vacations, then we just need to find coverage and maybe, what do we have, Barry, maybe Tom
Yeah, well,
to find.
They're all on
coverage.
vacation during.
And-
that.
and part of that 3-year package too is the employee handbook, where you get personal days, you get sick time,
Yeah, you'll get a-
you know,
a
it-
fresh copy of that. You can do it.
so it's not necessarily defined in the contract, but
Right.
it's part of being an employee of the town of Southwick,
Wonderful,
okay?
great.
So the handbook, Alex will get from Robin.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll come from the select board's office, okay?
Now we'll let Carl know.
Okay,
This is such a, yes. Yeah.
oh, you're interested in the little doggy thing. You
No,
wanna-
well, yeah, I mean, there's, yeah.
He's
There-
about it.
I mean, you can't say no to little puppies and kitties now. This is,
Yeah.
They don't have
So
little puppies
adorable.
like that at the shelter.
Yeah.
yeah.
They got just sweet dogs.
Um,
So anyways, now what?
Yeah, do you
Yeah,
have
what-
any questions for us?
I mean,
Well, your main contact will be Tom.
okay,
And then you get a list with the names of the board members and their contacts, their cell phones and
Sure.
emails, et cetera, and on and on. You probably would want to establish some type of email base with it, a
Yes.
communication that you can share between the board members. However, it's information only.
right,
Even in an email, you couldn't have 3 board members.
right, conflict.
Yeah, it would be a conflict, so,
Right.
and I'm sure you have to take the conflict of interest
Oh, absolutely,
tests
yeah,
and, et cetera.
yeah. The
You
whole
know.
kit and caboodle,
Yeah,
Yeah. great. Yeah, so we'll be in touch. I don't know if we want to do like some sort of like list of ongoing projects, any, yeah,
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna- you're gonna-
and then we'll be prepared and then we'll be able
you'll
to,
hit the ground running.
oh boy, I gotta start running. I gotta start training on the treadmill.
Literally, before you start, we're gonna do maybe you mentioned maybe a shadowing with me before May.
Yeah,
And so you're gonna be pretty up to speed. I'll take you around, we'll drive around, we'll go through.
Good.
Every restaurant, I mean, not through every restaurant.
oh my goodness.
Look at all the restaurant stuff, what we're doing, where we're doing, where the
Oh, show me.
subdivisions are.
Right,
Things like that, where everything is, where all the files are in our office, how things work, meet everybody. We'll have it, you'll be-
However long it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no deadline. And Jean, when is your last meeting?
1 month.
What happened?
I'm not running. through it.
I know, she's the only.
Just
How
when you get to
come?
know me,
Job.
huh?
How come? What did I do? I'm sorry.
It's,
Oh, okay.
I mean,
It's time.
Oh, Tom, come
and
on.
I've been with this board for,
Yeah.
what, 30 years?
30 years?
As I started
Wow.
as a secretary.
You started when you're 10, when your child. was-
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
She was a child.
Oh.
She was a- I said she was, yeah,
She was right
right,
out of high school.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, it's,
Did you go to Southwick High School?
I graduated in 72. Okay, you weren't even born.
My mom was born.
Right.
Oh,
Barely.
yikes.
So it's,
So what's gonna happen?
oh, there'll be another board member
Oh.
that'll take my place. The board members get elected for 3-year terms.
Okay, all right.
So Sue will be on for 1 more year and
I won by 9 votes.
Kenzie
But
won
you
by
won.
9 votes.
That's
and-
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, and we had to do a recount. It was great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But there'll be, I work here too.
Oh,
If
You'll
you're
still
gonna
see
see
her.
her.
She has. a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh, good,
information. Yeah,
okay.
she'll be-
all right,
you'll
you
see her.
scared me for a second. I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
I work here part-time and I have another full-time job.
Oh, my goodness. How do you do it?
So that's why this was one of the things that I had to give up. because I'm
Oh,
Just too old.
Jean is a real good
You're not
resource.
old.
Yeah, she is.
You're like 20, like 37. Come on.
36.
Sorry.
Too late, you already got your job.
But, yeah, no sucking up required. But,
Yeah.
I'll still communicate
Good.
with Sue
Yeah.
and Tom. And
Right across the
my,
hall.
as a matter of
Yeah.
fact, my office is
Right
right here.
across the hall from
It's right
yours.
across the hall.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Oh,
see
you'll
her.
see
are
more
you
of
the
it than
cemetery? It's a cemetery.
No,
No,
I'm
okay.
Conservation Commission.
Okay, oh, okay, all right. Okay, all right.
So, and Sewer Implementation Committee and Cable Advisory Committee
Wow,
and
And-
Lake Management.
that's
um,
it?
And Agricultural Committee and a full-time job. And a husband, it's just a full-time job. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm happy you're here.
Yeah, we're very happy.
Good.
Yeah, and we will do what we have to.
All right.
Believe me, you're not going to be hung out on a wire by yourself.
I hope not.
No, no.
No.
And there will be as much support, as you need.
Good, wonderful. Thank
So,
you.
Do you want to stay while we continue on our meeting or?
Whatever you
You're
guys
welcome
feel
to- you're
comfortable
welcome to
with,
stay.
comfortable
So
with.
just to
I
see
finished
what's
my
going on.
schoolwork, so.
All right. So
Well,
Tom,
we're almost done with
Yeah,
the
we're almost
agenda.
done, yeah.
I just
Okay.
wonder what's going on with the food establishments?
No, this is something you should listen to.
Oh,
This
The
is
finding letter,
interesting.
actually, I spoke to Carl about that. And finding letter, because as I was reading the regulations, I have couple of concerns about the proper mechanism for the finding. And I understand that there was finding the last couple of years when I wasn't here. Is that true? I'm not sure how that was done.
They,
I tried to get,
a little bit of a background is their food permits, et cetera, are due January 1st.
Oh, yes, same here.
Some of
Or
them
same in
haven't.
Deerfield. Right?
Some of them haven't paid yet.
Oh, yeah.
And there is Board of Health regulations that do have
Yeah.
a finding.
What does
Yeah.
yours say? Does
Yeah.
it say fees are doubled?
No, it's like if you don't pay within 3
I'll show you,
weeks, it's $300 and
$50.
and then it's $50 a week subsequent, it's a progressive.
Wow,
That's-
that's pretty.
just to answer the question, I
It's
actually.
not very comprehensive. This is now the 4th time we're on this issue,
Right,
so.
Right,
Oh,
it was pretty confusing. And I wanted just to make sure we're all in a level playing field with this. I sought the advice of council to make sure that the 21D, the permitting, finding through 21D, which is like the same thing as a parking ticket, which is certainly valid. we can do
Civil.
that, But also the Board of Health had their own. And wanted to make sure that both of those together had a legal standing that's never been challenged. So I ran it by town council after talking to Carl, because they can only do it through the select board. Right, so they're reviewing it right now, just to make sure that it doesn't get challenged, or conversely, any change that needs to be made, we would redo the regulations, so it won't get challenged. in the
What do you
future.
mean by challenge? You mean like the right to appeal?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, just the finding. And there's
Yeah,
no
and-
question the board can find, there's no question you can have a 21D, but all the mechanisms of whether they can be on top of each other, you can fine on fines. those types of things have never been really
I-
fleshed out.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That could
So,
be something you could work on, you know,
Yeah.
to get a more definitive,
for the
type
next
of-
regulations, yeah. for
you
the-
know, because these people are operating without a food
Yeah.
permit.
Right.
How much longer? It's
We had an
already been 4
establishment like
months.
that too, and, I mean, I'm just curious to know, did you guys like, well, I imagine letters went out and stuff
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
that. Was there, saying, there's at this time that, you are closed until, you come to a Board of
Well,
Health meeting and blah, blah,
yeah,
blah, yada,
that's-
yada.
Okay, for example, that's one of the problems with this, that, believe it or not, the Board of Health cannot close a restaurant without due cause. And,
Without a food permit, isn't that one that you need though? In order
Well-
to have safe consumption?
well, there's people operating without food permits all the time.
Right, but once you're caught, I thought you have to take corrective action.
If people choose not to close, then the only way to do anything about that is to go to Superior Court and get a
Right.
court order, which is a long, involved process. So you're right, you could do it, but the board has never, in my time, Sue, you've been here as long as I have over the years, never went to Superior Court to do that, so that's a long process. Most
Yeah.
people.
And to be fair, we were kind of in between secretaries and,
Yeah.
you know, things didn't
Yeah.
get processed right away
Yeah.
or second notices didn't go out into, it's something that needs to be streamlined.
And then it was
Much
COVID,
better,
and there was
yeah.
also COVID. and the
What's
restaurants
that?
weren't open, yeah. So there was some issues within the last couple of years that, I think people, we need to tighten that up.
So has anybody come through? Any restaurants come through in the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, who hasn't paid yet?
No,
Who's
it's
still
the same people that haven't paid, still
Yes,
haven't
the same
paid,
two.
How
There's
many
no
but
establishments?
they haven't got the letter, that's the
That
point.
Conlon Pizza.
How many,
I said,
how many establishments?
Conlon Pizza actually paid the
one,
fine,
two,
Oh,
so that's something that.
3, 4,
Tom's not
5,
worried about
5.
now because the letter says
Yeah.
what it says, if he looks at it, because like I said, he can come back. but we took
When's the last time they were permitted?
last year.
and the two Dunkin' Donuts,
Interesting.
they still haven't paid?
No, they're good.
Oh, they have.
They
So
have
everyone else was permitted last
Dunkin'
year?
Oh, I
Donuts.
didn't know that.
So then the list has
Lisa,
changed.
with COVID,
Well,
everything
yeah.
is a real mess.
Oh, let's see, I didn't know that. When did Dunkin' Donuts pay?
Didn't you see that?
No, I didn't say that.
I know Boston. Acres.
What?
Boston Acres.
I don't even think they're open anymore.
Yeah, they are, they're building a barn. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that,
Blossoming Acres, you're
Blossoming
thinking
Acres.
of Meadowview,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Meadowview, right, they're not open, and Subway is not open.
right? Okay,
So we wait for whoever's word
well,
on
no,
the back-to-back fines? Is that where we're at?
Yes, yeah, it's in town council. I talked to Ben today.
in your spare time,
Yes,
do you want to do an inspection of the, was it 2 Dunkin' Donuts? Ones that are open,
the ones I haven't
well,
paid,
smoothies.
doing
how about you
inspections.
say
Smoothies
Kahneman
isn't-
Pizza?
He paid.
No, he paid,
He paid?
he's all,
And,
he's-
Water, Lakeland, whatever it is now.
yeah, they changed the name.
So all we have is the 2 Dunkin' Donuts,
No,
what?
smoothies, the,
Yeah, the smoothie place.
and also,
But did you ever go-
Passateria.
Passateria still hasn't paid?
Somebody just needs to walk in there then.
Okay, so do you want to go do an inspection
Okay.
and then ask them where their permit is? And then present it, this is how much you owe?
Yes, I'd be happy to do it, but I would like to get the town council to make sure that what we're doing is defensible. That's the concern I have. Because this is we never went this long before we had to fine people this much and went this long. And see with 21D, it's a ticketing process and it's supposed to go to the clerk. It's a lot more complicated than the Board of Health is just fining, okay? And it goes to the clerk in Westfield. They can appeal it and you have to appear. So that's just the 21D portion. The other portion is the fine from the Board of Health that you set through the regulations in 2019. Both of those together, I'm concerned that we need to make sure that we're on firm ground before we do that. So, I
Okay,
mean, I'll do it, but I don't want to have any repercussions to the board.
And it's near two
Something that
Dunkin'
we-
Donuts and a pizzeria every year.
I mean,
every
what's the
year.
difference? We waited this long, I'm gonna wait a couple.
It's new this year, so maybe they didn't know that they had to pay again.
Yes, I think that's true, and I think that's what happened.
Because I
with,
think that
I
you would just be
think our
surprised
other
if they have to
secretary
do
did try to make phone
And
calls.
so was Kettle Bread.
did Kettlebread pay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Joe
Kettle Bread's
Didi
on.
went to it.
You guys are making
he
me
didn't
hungry.
think so. He didn't, he thought he did, but he.
Wait till you go to participate.
Oh,
If you like sweets.
how
you
good
won't
is the
leave
aroma?
place.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Let's see, e-permitting,
I think we got it.
Yeah,
they have e-permitting up in Deerfield?
No, this is new turf for me.
Okay, we don't have it yet.
well, we don't have it yet.
But
Oh.
we do for the building,
Work
so we're already, we're on it for building permits. There are things. that-
We have
What
a
software you guys run?
foundation.
And
I
we're-
did
we're
help
looking-
set one up in the foothills with open government.
Well, we are looking at it, and I did a module training last week, and actually this week, and Monday, and he's gonna send us the person that set it up in the town hall for the building department.
Is it
Has
permanent?
modules for the health department, so he's gonna set the cost projections to find out what that's gonna cost us.
See, the problem
Very
is they're getting alcohol licenses before they've got the Board of Health permits.
How much do the liquor license
They're
cost?
getting,
Depends.
their plumbing and
They're-
electrical
I thought they were up
inspections
there.
and fire
They very well could
inspections.
be. But we're
before they
not
even pay
communicating
to us, and it's like no communication,
with them,
Oh, interesting.
with them,
Mm,
so we're trying to streamline that.
right, tighten it up. Because it's so the finding, next year, if this goes through, if we tighten this up, then you wouldn't have an issue with finding, because they wouldn't be an open period, because they wouldn't have any inspections. Right. They wouldn't have a liquor license, and that, of course, that only affects the people that have liquor licenses.
Right.
not-
But the
not
liquor
anybody else.
licensing triggers fire and
Right.
police
Right,
Right,
inspections.
that's correct.
and they do
So-
that even without that, though. I
That's
think
true.
they do with square footage, not just of the liquor.
Right,
purpose.
but the liquor license wouldn't get issued unless the fire and police did their inspections. They need that before they issue a liquor.
Is this common
license.
Right,
victular?
But now, so
No,
No.
that's separate.
that's separate, that's an old fashioned term, but conversely, that should trigger it too, if what the Board of Health permits aren't done, they don't get inspected.
Right, but
We
the
have
Board
been
of
working
Health
on
has
it.
never looked at
Well, that's-
fire and,
That's
yeah.
right, that's.
So
why
do
we're gonna change that.
non-liquor establishments still get inspected by fire?
Correct,
and-
yes,
okay,
because it has to do with occupancy, not with liquor.
Okay,
The smaller
Okay.
ones don't. Smaller facilities don't, but the larger ones do.
so it wouldn't help us with Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it depends on the size. I'd have to look, if they have a whole list of ones they inspect. But it has to do with the size, but the larger ones definitely, like Big Y, Roma, larger like Tuckers, they inspect all those.
Okay,
Of
so
course,
now
they
what
too have
happens if someone
liquor
goes to La Patisseria and then they contact the board and they say, you know what? I just got staph poisoning.
Right,
And they come to find out, oh gee, they don't even have a
right.
permit from us. It comes-
Why didn't they get a permit from us?
Well,
Is that our responsibility or theirs?
well, we didn't give, we're letting them operate.
It's
And
We're not
technically,
letting
We're
them
We're
do
not letting them
anything.
operate. They're supposed to be, it's like people that don't have their license for driving and they're operating.
Right, it's
on
not like the
road.
RV's letting them
That's
drive.
right,
It's
exactly.
just,
and actually,
They're
the Board of
doing it
Health
without
is
it.
not obligated to notify.
That's right, and we
individuals.
have notified them
That's right. so
more
you
than
did a-
once,
a
so
courtesy,
there's
so,
there's no excuse,
Yeah, you guys have a strong case, so.
But I just want to make it stronger for the finding portion. We're gonna get an answer pretty soon.
All right.
I mean, what's an extra? I mean, it was only when I started writing the letters, I had the letters all drafted, that I said, ooh, I got some real concerns about a few of these things. Because it hasn't been really tested. We never really sent these out and looking at our regulations. So I think the regulations need to be buffed up a little bit as well as the combination of the two findings.
So Alex needs a copy of our town
Absolutely.
regulations.
He's
He
gonna
needs a
have to
copy
get
of
it.
everything.
He's gonna
Of all the-
get the
Regulation.
Trust
So
me.
I hate to do this, but I'm very much a paper kind of guy. I don't, I can't, I don't know, something with the computer, I don't know if you get this, some the guys send the designs and I'm like, I'm not accepting this. I need it in person, I need to.
Yeah,
see
we
the
still
big
have all
plans.
the
I like
paper
paper.
designs. Yeah, we still have our paper designs. yeah. So.
Anything
Okay.
else?
Yeah, I don't have. anything.
So you had meetings,
DPH,
LAPC meeting that just reported. on
the
it.
DPH meetings and we go into
Tuesdays?
them.
Every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, now it's
they
every
changed
2
it,
weeks.
right?
Yes, it used to be every week. Now it's every 2 weeks.
Okay. And yet those are virtual?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the LAPC was downstairs.
and then you said there's a nursing grant meeting next week. Tammy's gonna tune in more,
Yeah, April 11th, a grantees meeting.
grantees meeting.
Yeah. I'm finishing up posting for the job posting for the nurses. Originally, I was told that we could combine them. And then when I started to do that, had it all set up for combined, I was told by council that we had to separate them. So that changed and it took a little while to back and forth. And she reviews it, sends it back, she makes corrections and things like that. So that's why it changed. And then she wanted to change in the salaries and have the salaries for the job posting. She wanted to have ranges. So she made it, we were going back and forth, but it was just about there, about 98%. Kimberly and I are talking about.
And then we have private well regs, which Tom submitted a revised template from the state, right?
Our MHOA.
Did you get the model regs?
Yeah.
Did you look at the shadow? Doesn't mention anything about not allowing shallow wells. Are you guys permitting that?
Nobody's doing shallow wells that I know of.
Artesian.
Yeah.
That what Mr. Pratt used to put in?
So there's still drill wells.
Hmm.
Artesian, there's just.
Yeah, they're the
no
deep
pumping
ones.
that just comes to the surface. Pratt still drilled, but they were shallow drill wells. Artesian is just, it's coming out, seeping out of the ground.
Didn't they use some of those shallow wells just for irrigation?
You can, yeah, agricultural. Yeah.
I think there were some.
But people were drinking from it too, but just the model regs that I saw, it didn't mention anything about not allowing the shallow wells for drinking consumption. That's all.
I have to look at it again, it's right there. But there was other things that I thought were, concerning, especially to the fact that we have town water. Like Randy Brown, the DPW director, which you meet, is concerned that cross-contamination from wells that are for irrigation. So
Don't we have don't we have some regulations on that one already? Didn't you have separate regulations about a backflow preventer?
yes, so that any new regulation, we're gonna have at least that, but we can even strengthen those to make sure they can't get permits at all, either one until you're sure.
So we can
it's gonna be
combine them.
backflow protection is involved.
I know.
Yes,
put them into one.
right.
Do you guys do PFAS testing? You guys part of that program?
No.
Yeah.
It's just a state program working from UMass Amherst, offering individuals with a certain, what is it? If 60% of the town is on private wells, and
And that's why we
You're-
don't, we get it, because we're not eligible,
not-
because
okay.
we have more than that, because I know Granville has it, but even the people there, see, that's a two-edged sword.
that's right.
It's a
You
there's a
identify it,
PFAS.
and then there's a cost associated.
Well,
with it.
If they find it,
That's not-
see, the problem is, so if you take this, if the state's going, yeah, we'll give you a free testing, but if we find it. you're
Well, it's
gonna
on
have to-
you.
You gotta do something about it.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't afford
people
it.
are gonna shoot themselves in the foot, because there's no money to mediate.
Right.
So it's not getting a lot of response for that reason. They're gonna have to, they wanna really do something about this. They're gonna have to provide money for people
Yeah.
that find PFAS in their well.
Right.
But it's not likely in a lot of towns, the hill towns,
I think they
obviously,
found
Westfield.
very few.
Exactly,
It's not really in Western Mass,
right.
according to the
Right.
data so far.
Right.
seems like it's coming.
And I think in Westfield, because of the foam issues with the
What's
airport.
PFAS stand for?
oh God,
It's a
poly-
long-
Yeah, it's a long
Um,
polyfluoro
Something like that,
hydrocarbon.
Yeah.
Is that not what we just
It's a
found in our?
carcinogen. One of
What?
the
What we found in
Yeah,
our-
they had a
compounds of thousands.
Yeah.
well
Yes.
report
Yeah.
that
Yes.
was negative, the DP.
Now, wasn't that
Sent out
because
I
it
heard
came,
about
part of the water came from Springfield?
Correct, what
Right.
was found in that water?
But
Not
they're, but
this?
they're
I got a
mixing.
private well, I don't care.
Right. right,
No, but I'm
they're-
pretty sure it's what we're talking
but
about
they're
right now,
mixing,
that's what they
right? You're
found
on
in our
private well
water.
too, right?
Yes,
private
doesn't affect
water,
me, it affects
right.
everybody on Falls Highway.
Right, and, but that was partly because of Springfield. The
Correct, it's
water
because the
is
water
taken-
came from
Right.
Springfield.
Right.
Cobble
Is it,
Mountain,
is, so
right?
is that's my question, is that what they found in the water?
Oh,
That was
no,
one?
not
No,
that
no.
particular
Oh,
chemical, but they
okay,
did
okay.
find some, they did find something, and sent notices out to people that were
Oh.
on the water service.
Yeah, yes. Okay, very nice.
I don't have anything else.
Okay,
So,
anything
I
else?
guess something else. So we'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:20.
37,
37.
7:37.
7:37. It's
I
like
make the
the airplane.
motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mackenzie, yes.
Roll call vote. Jean Wilson, yes.
Sue Brasky, yes. And oh, we forgot to talk about our next meeting. 6
TBD.
o'clock,
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
and that's gonna be in
We're done.
21st of April, correct?